Meeting of the.
Okay, go live now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Going to convene the audit committee meeting for the Albany County IDA. Audit committee roll call. Wanda Willingham, present. William Murphy, present. Anton Dreslin is excused, so we have a quorum, 2 out of 3 members of the committee. I'll turn the meeting over to Brendan Kennedy of PST, the auditors, and Brendan will present the 2024 audit, which is very near conclusion.
That's correct. So folks, again, 2 deliverables in front of you. You should have these as part of your package, and I just handed out a brief presentation. I'm going to take you through this quite expeditiously. However, if there are questions or comments, please do not hesitate to stop me. So past the cover here, just the table of contents. We'll go through the executive summary. We'll talk about some of the areas of focus, and then I'll make my required communications to you folks. And then we'll have some time for questions and comments. So flipping past the table of contents, we get to the executive summary. We have provided within this report our auditor's opinion on the December 31st, 2024 financial statements. 2023 was audited by predecessor auditors. So our opinion is exclusive to 2024. The other deliverable would be our required communications. It's a separate letter, about 4 or 5 pages, and they cover all those required communications that we must make under auditing standards. So the work was substantially completed by the end of January. It's obviously a relatively non-complex entity. Amy turns things around very quickly, sends it our way. We do our thing and turn around drafts, I think by the end of January or early February. So we were substantially completed by January 25. There are no internal control matters or compliance matters that came to our attention that we would report to you folks. And upon acceptance by the board, we plan to issue an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. An unmodified opinion is also known as a clean opinion. That's the highest level of assurance we can give you, the board, that the financial statements are free of material error. Flipping to the areas of audit focus, just a couple of areas here. As mentioned, this is our first year auditing the IDA. So we had to do our due diligence and review predecessor auditor work papers. No issues there. The big audit test is our cash confirmations. We send cash confirmations out, validate the balances, reconcile those balances to the trial balance, and make sure everything is properly collateralized or insured by a letter of credit. From a substantive test of details over the income statement, we go through the cash receipts and disbursements, and we trace things to source documentation to make sure things are properly recorded, not only in the right account, but in the right period. We do consider fraud in the conduct of our financial statement audit. Obviously, there's limited transactions going on here. To the extent there were journal entries, we would have reviewed those. We make inquiries of management. We've reviewed some bank statements here and there. Nothing came to our attention that would suggest any fraud in the conduct of the 24 operations. And finally, financial statement preparation. Obviously, the financial management is responsible for the preparation of the financials. However, we do go through them, making sure things are properly categorized, making sure footnotes are complete and accurate, and that, again, the amounts are reasonable in the context of the 24 period. Past the areas of audit focus, we'll do some brief required communications. Everything I'm about to tell you is in more detail in that secondary deliverable that I've provided to you folks. This is just a quick summary. Again, as part of the financial statement preparation process, we do review accounting policies and practices. No changes, and the policies appear to be reasonable. There's no audit adjustments or uncorrected misstatements. That means the trial balances that were supplied to us by management is the same financial information that's included in these financial statements. To the extent we identified any errors that needed to be adjusted, or we identified errors that management opted not to correct, we would report those to you as part of this presentation, and there are none. Observations about the audit process: no disagreements, no consultations. If management were to seek the opinion of another accountant or auditor, we would report that to you. But there were none to our attention, and there's no significant issues discussed, nor any difficulties encountered that required consultation on our end. So obviously the audit went fairly smoothly. And so in terms of significant written communication, the only thing that we would report to you is the management representation letter. That's a letter that management, the CEO and the CFO provide to us, attesting to the fact that they provided us all the information we've requested. And so upon the acceptance by the board, management will sign that letter and we'll attach it to this required communication. This for your purview. So with that said, those were my prepared remarks. If there's any questions or comments, we'll take some time now to address those. And I do like to remind the boards that although we meet usually annually, we're around year-round. If there's any comments during the year or questions you want to run by me, I know Amy's not afraid to pick up the phone and bounce ideas off us. So we're here year-round, even though we might only meet just this one time. So those are my prepared remarks. Can I help anyone with any additional information?
I just have one question about the your opinion paragraph. The first is management discussion and analysis that's required in the generally accepted accounting principles, yet the report omits that. And I also noticed in one of the footnotes there was some discussion of a future requirement relative to management discussion analysis. Obviously, these are not complex financial statements. There's probably not a lot of discussion needed. I was just wondering what your thoughts are with respect to that.
So that's a very good observation, a very good question. So the MD&A is what GASB would call, GASB is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, they would call it required supplementary information. And is required, however, it's never audited. And so management would include that in these financials, and generally the larger authorities do. And it's kind of been my personal preference, although we could always add an MD&A, if there's really not a lot going on, and it's a relatively non-complex entity, from a pragmatic standpoint, I generally recommend omitting it. And so it has no impact whatsoever on your auditor's report. It would have no impact on your compliance with state laws and regulations. We've simply omitted something that an accountant standard board setter says we should put in there. It's very common with my client base, unless they're going to write something very qualitative and valuable. My recommendation is not to bother. It just saves everyone time.
So with this proposed GASB change, well, is anything going to change in that? And one of the footnotes talked about something is going to come into effect after July of 2025.
Yeah, and actually, I think that he's referring to page 9, GASB 103. I have not read in depth or studied GASB 103, but I think what it's going to do, what I find is that when people they want the MD&A, but they don't really want to put forth the effort, they'll have a comparative table and it'll say cash went up $5,000. And then they never really get into the reasons as to why qualitatively things have changed. And that's kind of what this standard is saying is, don't just report obvious things.
Put some substance behind it.
Put some substance behind it. So, the larger municipalities will do an MD&A. Obviously, Albany County will do an MD&A, the city of Albany, et cetera. But some opt not to, like, the cities of Rensselaer and other. And again, it doesn't impact the auditor's report. You still have unmodified opinions. So that's the logic.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
There's no other questions of Brandon. Brandon, I have a motion to accept the audit report and to present the audit report to the full board and recommend the acceptance by the full board. I'll second the motion, and motion carries. Unanimous.
Good.
Paris filings, Amy Thompson, CFO, to present the Paris filings.
So in your packet, you'll find 4 different of the required Paris filings that are due to the ABO March 31st. The first being the annual report This report covers governance, board information, staff information. It has the statement of summary financial information, which matches the audit that Brendan presented. And it has some project information, property documents, and I think that covers it for the annual report. Did anyone have any questions on the annual report? No?
So just, it looks like that as long as the project still is getting some kind of public benefit, that it's going to stay in this parish report until it's run its life cycle. So if you have a
Correct.
10-year pilot agreement or you've got something like that, it's
Yes.
going to continue to just
There-
report and update it on until it
Till it,
is
yeah.
no more.
There is a question in each of the projects that says year financial assistance is planned to end. So you'll see that,
Right.
goes out to 2040, 50. And there's also a question that, is this project, no longer receiving any benefits? Once I click that,
Oh, next
It's
year it's
gone.
gone.
yes.
Thank you.
Within the reports, are we ascertaining that the companies are reporting their jobs and everything accurately within this document? So as we go through these parish reports, I see some upside downs.
Right.
So.
What do you mean as far as like employment numbers or?
That is correct. And so we just like to, for the record, like to sort of identify, one in particular that I see here is project 01, 02, 22, 04.
So I have updated ones
Okay,
for that.
okay, so the ones that, yeah, if you could maybe give me that one,
Yeah,
that would be, okay.
Thank you. Now, how are you identifying this, Mike? By the
Well,
project
yeah,
code?
I just did it by the project code because, okay, there's the project name underneath, okay. It was the plug power is the one that I was
Okay.
making
So,
reference to.
Mr. Chairman, we did notice that there's a reduction in jobs. You've all heard in the prep, the general media about the plugs, reductions in staff because of business issues. And for 2024, they've missed their target of 564 jobs by 88 jobs, reporting only 476 or 77. It's a substantial miss, but it does not trigger the so-called clawback provision. That has to exceed 20%. This is something we looked into. I spoke to the company. They've offered to come in and explain to the board what's going on with the company. They said there's going to be more happening. They apparently are contracting, closing operations outside of New York State and outside of the US, and consolidating all those actions back into Albany County. But they told me there are going to be future announcements made as soon as this week. We have not seen any of those posted or anything, but they again have offered to come in and talk to the board. But for the 2024 year, it did not trigger any of the clawback provisions of the agency project agreement. Chris, anything you'd like to add to that?
No, that sums it up.
Okay, good. I just wanted to be sure there was communication
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
the company and the
Yeah,
management.
there is,
That's the
and
most
they-
important.
They did want me to
Yep.
tell the board that
Well,
if
okay.
the board so desires, they're happy to come in and present to the board and give them the full employment picture, which I think might not be a bad idea,
Yeah.
at the next meeting.
Whenever you think it's appropriate to bring forth, the board would welcome that.
Okay.
That's the only comment I had. As I was going through it, that one to sit and reconcile with me, so.
I didn't have that
Yep,
yet, and I
yep,
wanted to get the
yep.
packet out
Perfect.
yesterday, so.
So I think we like a motion from the Audit Committee to recommend the Paris filing as drafted by Amy Thompson, recommend to the full board for the approval of the package as completed. So I would ask for that motion.
Motion.
So moved and motion carried.
Great.
Executive session, I don't think we have any need to be going into executive session, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
So again, we just keep going, right?
Rolling.
Keep streaming.
Well, we are now open for the full board meeting of the Albany County Industrial Development Agency. Welcome, everyone. First call of order, let's have a roll call of who's in attendance. Mike McCarry and me here, present. Dennis Feeney is excused. Marlene?
Present?
Bill Murphy?
Present.
Anton, I believe, is excused. Paul?
Present.
And the Honorable Wanda?
Present.
Very good. We have a quorum. Next point of business here is we have the minutes from the March 4th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review them? And if so, can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We just had an opportunity to hear the committee reports for the audit committee from Bill. Does anybody have any comments in listening to that audit report?
Good job,
With Bill's approval, we'll make a motion to approve the audit. We get a motion?
Motion.
And we get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed? Okay, so moved. Next is the CFO report.
Nope.
Amy?
Need a motion to accept the Paris report. Sorry.
Oh,
Okay, that's
I'm
what you're-
sorry.
That's where you're going.
Very good. Can we get a motion then to also approve the
So
Paris
moved.
report? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Now we'll get to Amy.
Okay.
CFO report.
So in your packet, you have the year-to-date financials through February. I'll run through those. Starting with the statement of financial position. Cash balance was roughly 4.4 million, with 3 million of that in a CD. I did have a discussion with Mike earlier today, and we have talked about probably moving some money out of the money market and increasing the amount of our CDs to gain more interest. We have 1,500 in prepaid expenses and 26,000 in accrued investment interest, which is from the CDs. Accounts payable of $5,000 and a net loss year-to-date of $19,000. So moving on to budget versus actuals. Our total revenue year-to-date was $34,000 versus a budget of $75,000. Again, that's because we have not had any projects closed this year. We haven't collected any fees, hoping that, changes in the future and we can meet that budgeted amount. Total expenses year-to-date were $53,000 versus a budgeted amount of $71,000. So year-to-date net loss of $19,000 versus a budgeted gain of $3,700. Anyone have any questions on the financials? Okay. I have one other item, which is an annual requirement of all board members. It is required by the Authority Budget Office. It's the confidential evaluation of board performance. So I believe all the board members have one now. So if you could fill this out and return it to Antoinette or Sarah, and then we will, compile all of them and see.
And Amy, all of these individual evaluations have to get posted publicly?
Yes, to the ABL, but they are confidential.
Okay, can we get a motion then to approve the financials?
Motion to approve.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so moved. Great. Kevin, CEO report.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And And again, I apologize and thank you all for coming to this, this meeting. It's primarily just for the purposes of approving all of our compliance activities with the Authority Budget Office and the Paris recording, not the least of which is our audit, which has to be approved by the board of motion. So thank you. I know it's a little bit of an inconvenience. Mr. Chairman, I just have one item. We were approached by the Turbine First Prize group. They have completed the demolition of their site and they're ready to get going. They've got a housing development there, split up into 4 phases, which will account for some 850 or so units, probably over 8 to 10 years. And they are looking for pilot relief. As you may know, the project where it sits right off of Everett Road, the former First Tobin meatpacking plant, spans 2 municipalities, the municipality of the city of Albany, as well as the municipality of town of Colony. And as such, they've asked the Albany County IDA to do the project and confer those benefits. We're awaiting, I don't, Chris, do we have a final application from them yet, or?
No.
No, so we're awaiting an application, but I think they're looking to get their project approved sometime by the end of the summer or early fall. So, been a while since the IDA has done a housing deal. Many other IDAs are doing these quite frequently now because of the so-called housing crisis around the state, which exists in our own region here as well. And I think we might see more of an appetite or more of a request of the IDA to do housing projects. These typically different from our industrial projects in that the requested pilot payments tend to run longer. Plug Power, Regeneron were 12, 15-year pilots. These oftentimes run 20, 30, and sometimes even 40-year pilots. They try to do them, the pilot, to be coterminous with their various, financing agreements to grow the project. Don't have that. Just want to give everybody a heads up and tell them that it's coming. And
Just on memory on that one, didn't the town of Colony in the city of Albany form some type of
yeah,
Yes,
you're exactly
board
right.
or something?
Yeah,
their own
They sort of like,
their own municipal zoning board specific for this
Okay,
situation.
okay.
Yeah,
Chris, I believe the same thing that New Scotland and Bethlehem did with Plug Power, correct?
I think so,
It's like an
Yeah.
intermunicipal agreement.
correct.
But yeah, you're exactly right. And the project has changed over time. Originally it was going to be commercial office that, kind of has fallen off. This is primarily residential, and they plan on doing a small retail development on the corner of Everett Road and
Sand Creek, is that?
Is that Exchange?
what is
Exchange
it? It's not
Street.
Sand Creek, it's the one
Exchange
before
Street.
that. What is it?
Exchange Street.
Exchange Street, actually, yes, thank you. So, and that's probably a very heavily trafficked road, so it's probably a good place for a, convenience store, fast food, whatever. I don't know. I don't think they know at this point, but.
So this housing, is it multifamily, single family?
It's a single-family market rate housing. They believe it's going to be young, married, without children, is how he
Is
explained it.
it housing or apartment? Apartment.
It is apartments.
Apartments,
It's
yeah,
rent-
yeah,
it's
yeah.
rentals. It's all rentals, yes.
Okay.
They just, the same group just completed the project on Holland and, is it Whitehall? What's the road that goes past the academy? Down near the McDonald's down there?
That's.
Hackett?
Hackett. Same group that just finished those apartments. If you're going up Holland towards, it's right on the left. Kind of 4-story.
We're gonna get around.
They also own quite a bit of, they own the paddocks up in Saratoga.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know these guys, right?
Yeah, Bill Hopple.
Yeah, Rhonda, maybe, well, he was a former county legislator, and his uncle, I think, Wanda was county executive.
Yes, Mike
You talking
Hopper.
about Hopper?
Hoblock, yeah.
Very good.
Yep.
Well, keep us in the loop as that progresses.
So,
Will do.
Bridgebell Capital.
Yes,
Right, right.
that's right.
Okay, well, that's good report, good update. Any other business? Anyone wanna talk about anything? Anything going on?
I turned 49 yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
So Chris, how many years have you turned 49?
This is my first one.
But it won't be the last, right?
That's right. That's right.
Well, I guess with that, Chris, do you think any reason why we need to go into an executive session?
I don't think there is a deferred Kevin.
Nothing for me.
Okay, yeah, very
Public
good.
comments?
Any public comments?
Just here to watch the show.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have joining us today, reporter Luke Nathan, who's with the Business Review and has been, follows our activities on a routine basis.
Welcome, Luke. Thanks for joining us. Anything else? Anybody else? Any comments? Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, all adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.